You're supposed to have a fog machine.
And
Apparently that didn't go down.
yeah.
Thanks, RJ.
And confetti. Hi guys, thank you guys so much for coming. We were going to be stoked if 20 people came, but this is kind of amazing and really nerve-wracking. So please bear with us when we work through our many emotions happening at once right now.
Our bodies have to catch up to beating hearts.
But thank you again. We really appreciate it. It means a lot to us. So I don't know, many of you we see in here know us, but we've been together 18 years. I met this guy in high school, and kind of our life has started that way. I mean, when I was 15 and he was 17.
We shared a class. I thought I would be able to poach Tran's homework and get a better grade, and it turned out to be the opposite in that particular class. We're both different natives.
Yep.
Tran was born to Vietnamese parents that immigrated to the U.S. after the Vietnamese War. So she's first generation. She's the oldest of six kids. Yep. And over those 18 years, Tran's done a lot. She's been my best friend. She's been my business partner. She's been an art curator, a fashion designer, an event programmer, social media director, a mom, a wife. I don't think we'll get too much into relationship love, because it'll get a little self-helpy. But I heard a story years ago on NPR. They were interviewing people that had been in relationships for many years, and they were sharing insights. What were the tips or tricks? What was the success that, the glue that held them together? And meeting in high school, falling in love in high school, and going on to try to live a happy life together. You're a lot of different people over the course of 18 years. If you think about the percentage, most people that get together in high school don't go on to stay together. I think it's like 2 out of 10 fathers stay with the mothers, if they have a child that young. So the odds are definitely against us. And we've been many people over those years.
And we've grown to love each other over those years, in and out of love. I mean, we were teenagers. And if you can go back to when you're 15, can you imagine having a baby and trying to find a job and being like, we went through our different emotions and then being a young adult and so.
Yeah, who Tran was at 15 was different than who she was at 22, and who she was a different person at 27. I think we've had the privilege of falling in love with each other, a different version of each other several times over the course of 18 years.
Yeah.
And we've made babies. Lots of babies.
Yeah.
Which have led to all kinds of interesting questions. We'll get more to these guys in a bit.
Yeah.
Some qualifications. Why are we fit to speak of love or on love? Well, like I said, we're business partners, we're lovers, we're best friends. Somewhere in the middle of there's a lot of love. And the topic's kind of challenging. If you go around and ask everyone in this room to define what love is or what love means, and you'll get a different definition from everyone. And having been together, having pursued a life of love, we chose this title because not everything's perfect. It doesn't always go right. Happiness is the state of contentment and comfort and feeling secure. And love's not that. Love is demanding as it is giving. It's as messy as it is perfect. It's as challenging as it is rewarding. You have to open yourself up. You have to give yourself completely. You have to make yourself vulnerable. There's very little comfort or security in that. But when you strike that balance, it's the best thing on earth. And in talking, this is how we would define love. Love equals respect. Love is the highest form of respect that you can share, show for someone or something. And we'll talk a little bit about what it means or the reality of pursuing what you love, and how we got started. I really started to realize after high school, I didn't go to college right away. I was gonna have to pay for college if I was to go, working in a warehouse job, and I didn't hate my job. I was making decent money, but it wasn't fulfilling, rewarding. I was into art and design and skateboarding, and decided to take a chance. I came home one night after working a night shift and told Tran I wanted to go to design school. I'd given myself a summer to become a professional skateboarder, and that did not happen. I was skateboarding for much longer than a summer, but being landlocked at the time and kind of pre-internet.
And having a baby, it's a little hard to become a professional skateboarder. And I was working like random jobs or whatever, and when he said that, I was like, yes, do it. That was kind of the launching pad for us and seeing what we could do.
Yep.
Being young parents and being, we had next to nothing. We lived in Aurora, eating cereal for breakfast, but we made sure our little one, had food, every day. So it was a little rough, that period for us, for sure. And I was home and making clothes, like going to the thrift store and tearing things apart and creating stuff. And then friends started noticing and they're like, I want to buy this. And then I started like pitching stores. I think Buffalo Exchange was the first store. And then we kind of got onto that, like, oh, I think this could work if we start doing this and we're making extra money, We're like, this is providing, this little hobby is actually helping us financially. And so he was creating stuff at the Art Institute, and he'd come home and he'd be super stoked about things he learned, and he'd create stencils, and then he put those stencils on the things I was making, and that's kind of how the Fabric Lab came to life.
Yeah, that piece up there in the center is a curtain that Tran took and made into a skirt, and then made the shirt, and the shirt and clothing was kind of a canvas for me. It was another form of graffiti in a sense.
And so this all kind of happened out of taking an opportunity. So we had an opportunity. It was our hairstylist, who owned Babushka, and then she left there and went and opened her own space, and now she's still on East Colfax. And she's like, hey, come, I have this space in the basement on East Colfax. And I was like, I don't know. Like, and,
that was really the first opportunity.
Yeah, that was our opportunity. And we were scared. We were like, oh, should we do this? This is, I was actually just had our second baby by this time. And Josh was working full time. He had just started another, he left his job finally while he was in school and started at a small agency in Sloan's Lake, I think. And I was like, well, we have $800. What can we do with $800? We took the chance, and I feel like that was kind of my door to like, okay, I'm not scared to do these things anymore, And I think with a lot of entrepreneurs or people who want to open a business, the fear is the one that does stifle people and say, I'm too scared to do this. And we were terrified. We were still pretty young. I think I was 21, second baby, I think we actually just had our car repossessed. That's, there was dark days, like.
Yeah, we had very little money.
Yeah, and
so opening a business was terrifying.
Yeah, but I couldn't be home anymore, and I needed to be creative. And Fabric Lab kept, we pushed through it because we loved the idea. We loved the people that was coming to us and designers, and it was their outlet to sell their things in our store because we were the first store to actually showcase local designers, and that was it. So we started getting noticed through the Westward. I think we got featured in the New York Times at that time for a place to come visit. So it was really the support and love of the community when we started pushing further ahead. And then it was growing so fast, and we opened the second, we were walking for dinner one night and we saw a space on Colfax, and we took that spot. And kind of from there, it gave us even an outlet to actually, we weren't in the dingy basement anymore, even though, that's where it really all started, and that's kind of where, it made us who we are today,
Yeah, when we were in the basement, it was a great space. We met a lot of great people, but we also wanted to start throwing art shows and using the Fabric Lab as a platform that was just more than than a clothing boutique. You know, there was so much creative energy in Denver at that time. There wasn't a ton of outlets. You know, a lot of people were fleeing Denver that time instead of migrating here the way that we're seeing today. And we're both Denver natives. You know, we wanted to kind of just dig our heels in and kind of find ways to support ourselves, make opportunities for ourselves, but also for the people around us, all those amazing people that we were meeting. And, you know, it was all really a series of risks. You know, using the $800 we had to open up that shop down in the basement was terrifying, but, you know, Tran's always been good about taking kind of a leap. She has her parachute packed, you know, before I even made up my mind. She's jumping out the plane, and I guess I'm going. But she was really great. Like, you know, let's do it for a year. You know, we signed a lease for a year. Like, we may fail miserably. You know, let's just reassess at the end of the year. And like Tran said, you know, we're in the basement, written up in the New York Times. People would come and seek out the store, and we'd try to usher them downstairs. And again, we're on East Colfax.
And people are like, I'm not going down there.
Yeah, they're just leave.
That would be like the craziest part. Like, no, and they would leave, and I was like, why? Like.
So then, yeah, we had an opportunity for this space above ground. You know, we could curate it. It doubled as an art gallery. We use that space in a lot of different ways.
I mean, I'm, you know, it's sad still that we don't have it, but, you know, we felt like it was time when we had to let it go. But we're still so proud of this project or this store because.
It brought a community together. It gave people an outlet, a place to go, other than hanging out in bars in Lodo and just getting blitzed.
And for other creative people to meet other creative people, like that was kind of what we always wanted. And some of these people that we met through the Fabric Lab, like Noah Price with Crema, he was this, you know, when he started selling his clothing developed through us, and look what all the amazing things he's doing in the restaurant world right now, you know. And then Brandy G, who's still a good friend of mine. She was the first designer to sell in the basement who believed in me and was like, I'm going to sell my shirts here. And now she's making beautiful products that's going to be sold in Target, you know? And so it's really cool to see how love really, like the pushing through and dealing with this stuff, because everyone seems to think when you're an entrepreneur, it's amazing, you can do whatever you want. It's like, no, it's hard. We work, you know, people don't understand we work all day. You know, you're the janitor, the plumber, the accountant. It doesn't stop, you know. And if you love something that much, you'll do it, you know. Some
you don't
days,
mind.
Yeah, you know. You know, some days I don't want to get up. I want to cry and like just sit in the corner and look at Pinterest all day and like that's all I want to do. But, you know, you can't, you know, if you really truly love what you're doing, and you know, things are going to fail, and it's okay. Like, I have come at peace with that. You know, Fabric Life didn't fail to me. We're so proud of it. And
I mean, it was just time to, we did everything we could, and it was time to move on.
Yeah. And then we decided to open a cupcake shop during that time.
And this is definitely not easy. So Tran, we just came back from Chicago.
Yeah.
Visited a bunch of cool places out there, and I think in the middle of the night, she like shook me awake. She was like, I want to open up a cupcake shop. And I think you may have been pregnant with the third kid at that time. Like, timing was always impeccable.
I like to open businesses when I'm pregnant. That seems to be like the smart move, like the thing you should really do, but you know.
Well, she was like, I've got an idea, I want to open up a cupcake shop. And the Fabric Lab supported itself. It paid for itself. We weren't making a ton of money off of it. We weren't making really any money off of it, but it was a platform to empower the community. Yeah. And she's like, I want to open up a cupcake shop, and we're gonna get the space right next door to the Fabric Lab. And I was just like, you're insane. How many cupcakes do you have to sell to make rent? I mean, I was terrified. Yeah. And I was adamantly against it. And I discouraged her quite a bit, to be honest with you. And then a couple nights passed, and then she like violently shook me in the middle of the night again and woke me up, and then she just unleashed this vision in her head. She described like the lighting, the mood, the music, you know, what she had in mind for the identity and design and the aesthetic, and it just clicked. I was like, oh, you know, holy shit, this is amazing.
Yeah.
You know,
and he took that and then he designed all the logos and put everything together, and it's cool how we work that way, because I can't even draw a stick figure. So when I'm like drawing my things, he's like, all right, and he takes it And he makes it into amazing things. And I'm like, okay, this is how we work so well together because, and then the shop, that was a hard one. That was for me a really tough one because there was a lot of things going on, and being a business owner and being, I guess, having a benefit out for everyone, So sometimes when you open a business, this is our first time we had a partnership outside of us. So it was really hard. That was a situation that we walked away from after 2 years. There was a lot of funky stuff going on. I don't want to get too deep into it, but that was a hard one. It worked really well. We made really good money. So it was really hard to step away from something like that,
Well, we poured our hearts into it. At the time, Denver Boulder was named, the drunkest cities in America. And there wasn't really a place to go and hang after hours where you, again, weren't drinking.
Like
so we were
sitting
open until 2 a.m. on Friday night, Saturday night, playing music, great energy. You could come in, sketch, work on your laptop, hang out.
Actually read a book because there's lighting in there, and get coffee and hang out, and that was for me because I don't drink or smoke or do anything, so it was like out of selfishness too, and I was just like, well, I want somewhere to go, but I don't want to sit in a bar, and it's just that wasn't, and it was somewhere to bring your kids too, everything we do, our family is part of it, everything we create, our family, we think of them, and it's.
Tran's really good that way.
Yeah.
We're definitely pursuing the things we love. There's a selfish bend behind everything because we enjoy it. But she's always really good about trying to incorporate or making it bigger than just self-serving. Trying to think of a community. How are these spaces? How are these concepts going to fill a void or a need? How's it going to give someone inspiration or an escape? And I think we spent 7 years. 7 years on these Colfax. It became known as the Super Block. Friends joined us over there and opened up other galleries and businesses. We'd throw block parties, which you saw a picture of earlier. And around that time, we were getting older, continuing to have more kids, and just trying to respect and love ourselves. We were giving a lot of time, and we weren't making a ton of money. It was hard, and we were giving a lot, and it was time to kind of take a break. And we walked away from the Fabric Lab, we walked away from the shop, we walked away from East Colfax. We moved over to North Larimer at that time. Larimer was still a one-way street, and tumbleweeds kind of drift up and down.
Now
just north of Crema.
Now there's not a space to park anymore. And we moved into the warehouse, which you guys probably will know now is Bar Fosto. So the Wills family lived in there for a good 3 years. And we converted it. And this was something we always wanted to do. And it was, again, another risk. It was we moved in as renters. And the landlord, we told him, can we do all this stuff? And he's like, well, I'm not going to pay for it. And I was like, well, that's fine. We'll pay for it. And we made this space that we miss it. We love it. But, one bathroom and 6 people does not work very well. So that's kind of why we decided to move out. But in between that time, I was at a corporate job. Josh was at his job. And we didn't hate our jobs. We were just not happy. And we didn't love what we were doing. We weren't proud of what we were doing. And so the creative people we decided to open a small little gallery outside of our house. And we'd open doors and have everyone come, on a Saturday, and everyone came. And that started doing well. We were showing art, friends from art, the neighborhood, artist friends. And we were selling out of shows. People, I still don't understand. You guys are coming into my house and buying art. And I'm like, that's fine. But we made it homey, and that was a really cool thing. And then another opportunity knocked at the door, and I guess that's who I've always been. I've just never been really I'll just do it, And so Super Ordinary came to life, and we couldn't do without our amazing. We have 2 partners, Pedro Barrios, who's an amazing artist, and Brian Kavanaugh, which we've known forever, who worked with Josh. And we did it the right way. All the learnings we did, and all the the hell we went through. This was our big girl store, is what I call it. It makes money. I'm like, okay, this is awesome, and people love it, and we love it, and we're stoked about supporting the other creators that bring their stuff in, and how stoked they are to be in our store, and how stoked we're to sell their things. So this is currently what
Jumping back up, because Tran just like
Oh, sorry.
sped through a couple things. There's definitely an area or a time in between that when we were feeling discouraged. We started looking at people around us, and like we've been a single car family our entire relationship. Why don't we have 2 cars? Why don't we have nice cars? Why can't we own a house? We started looking around and trying to measure our own success by other people's definition of what success is, and we got really discouraged. We got down. There's definitely a strain on our relationship, and there were times.
That was probably the hardest. We've had some we've gone through some stuff, but that was like bad times. Like,
and I think all it took was remembering this. What is done in love is done well, and we don't consider our being successful, having a big house or 2 cars or going on lavish vacations isn't success to us. Like, we're very lucky and fortunate to do what we love day in and day out and surround ourselves with people that feel the same. That really led to that partnership with Pedro and Brian. The initial warehouse space, we had this vision, this grand vision, and it just never became what was in our heads. And by partnering with these guys, we realized we were able to accomplish and execute on this vision at this level for the first time. Collaborating with Mike Moore from Trace Birds on the design, and going in there and again kind of taking all that scrappy resourcefulness, and we built those walls ourselves over a series.
So that's not painted walls, my friends. That is burnt wood. So that took us 6 months just to burn those woods, because people come in and are like, no, we're a glutton for punishment. We could have easily have stained it, but we didn't. And I didn't do it. I was like, no. So I made them do it. I was like, It was like summertime too, and they're like holding torches in the heat, and I was like, I got plenty of stuff to do for the store. I don't need to do this. So, but that definitely was a labor of love, and that was.
And it took us realizing like every day is going to be a hustle. Nothing's going to be easy. No one's going to give a shit. We're not entitled to anything. Why should life be any easier for us and everyone else that's sitting in here today? Like, we all go through ups and downs, and people's character isn't defined by how they act when everything is going great. It's defined by how you act and react when things and shit hits the fan. You can't whine, you can't bitch. You just get up and you try to make magic every day. Do the best you can. That's all you can do.
And that's what we tell our kids. And it's like, Hesh wants to be a ninja? Cool. Like,
I mean, if they could figure out a way to pay the bills as a ninja,
when our kids are like, well, like, if you can make money doing that, like, I am 100% behind it, So, like, but I think, opening business, it's scary. Not everyone can do it. Not everyone does it. And I think people, think because you own your own business, I love it when people are like, oh, you must just have so much time. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I just got up at 6 a.m, checked some meals, made some lunches, got some kids off to school. Then we get home and we have a little bit of time with them. We make dinner. I don't think people, but I think too, it's like when you own a business, it becomes part of your, guess what's the word? Well, meshes in with your life, I think.
This is one of the questions we would ask ourselves. Like, and we get asked a lot, how do you handle work-life balance? And with 4 kids and 3 businesses, there's always something going wrong. Like, if you look at that picture, our youngest daughter it wasn't a broken arm, but we had left the house for like 15 minutes. And she gets a call saying the ambulance is pulling up. Little Hesh was just puking or crying. He's definitely not stoked to be there taking that picture. As soon as all that's going right, then, you get a flood, it's super ordinary. You get a call where you have to go and mop up the floor before you go to work.
Our 2 employees called in, and you're like, okay, all right, I guess I'm going to work today, So just know it's not easy, but if you truly love it, it's well worth it, because,
and while there is no life-work balance, we try to find little moments, little adventures. We'll go out late and go on a date night, just the 2 of us. We'll head out, if we can, for a day or 2 and explore Colorado. We celebrate the little things and make them a huge deal. We still find time to chop wood.
But, you know, I think when people ask us life work, it's like, you know, you can't separate those, and you have to be really disciplined with your days. If you really want to do what you love, you have to be super disciplined. You know, you can't say, I'm going to go on a walk and I'm going to go have lunch today. Although you want to do that, I know I do. You have to make sure, like, the day you have a schedule, and I think we've gotten really good at that. I know his schedule, he knows mine. Ish, yeah.
I know that you're somewhere different every day. That's the extent of it.
If I'm not at Support or I'm at Base Coat, that's really it. Like, those are my two worlds. But just be super disciplined. Like, you know, I mean, sometimes I just want to, like I said, be on Pinterest all day, and I don't. And I know I have to, like, go on a meeting, and this needs done, and this needs done. So I think that's a hard thing for a lot of people who, you know, want to open a business, because you have to, those are sacrifices you have to make. We have sacrificed a lot, you know, and with that, some days your family's going to need you more, and some days your work is, you know, your job is going to need you more. And that's when you kind of decide what you want to do that day. I hope that makes sense. I'm sorry.
And I mean, that's really it.
Yeah.
I think.